got it.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I'm so excited. I think the word is plotzing. I'm plotzing, and I was going to say, can't get it together. And regular listeners are going to say, Louis, you rarely have it together. But I am it's true. I am so honored, so honored to have on the show this morning, Deborah Bonham and Peter Bullick. I'm thrilled to have you on the Louis B. Free radio show, Brain Food from the Heartland. Truly an honor.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. We're honored to be on your show.
And I love your work, and absolutely am ecstatic about the new album.
Really?
You know, yes. Yeah.
I tell you, it means so much to hear that, you know, because we can only do what we do from the heart, and we put our all into it, but you never know how other people are going to accept that, you know, or if they're going to get it. And to hear it from you, to say, yeah, you love it, it's like, yeah.
It's been received really well, which is really thrilling for us, because we did put our soul into it. So that's great.
Well, that's clearly, you know, it's with all of your successes and all of the things that you've done, it's interesting. I don't know what I want to call it, humbleness, your modesty, and it's real. It feels real, because I've said this many times. I can't, when people say, oh, you know, some of the stars, be they movie stars or rock stars or whatever, they're arrogant, they're this or that. I can't imagine what it's like to literally perform around the world and have people screaming and yelling and clapping for you. You know, I've walked into places where people walk the other way, you know, or they give me the wave off or whatever. But
yeah,
you know,
I believe that.
I can't. It's hard to imagine that couldn't. And all the critical acclaim, all the reviews that you have, all the beautiful reviews, that at some point it wouldn't be like, yeah, look at me doing my thing. I don't mean it in a bad way, but I could see.
You know what? I think when you're really young, you might be a bit like that, but as you get older, you just appreciate everyone who's clapping, everyone who turns up, everyone that's clapping, and everybody who gets it. You really appreciate it.
When I was a kid, I used to bunk off school and go down to the local hall to see the rock stars come and play at our place, the Ulster Hall it was called. Rory Gallagher and Lemmy from Motorhead were regulars, and they'd let me sit and chat with them, and Bon Scott from AC/DC, and they were just really nice guys, always had the time, always humble. So I don't know, all those years later, whenever I start playing in front of people, I keep thinking in the back of my head, you know, Rory Gallagher, Lemmy, all these people, they'd be really nice to these people. So no matter how you feel, they were always cool. And they kind of shape your outlook on life whenever there are stars out there that are horrible. And thank God I didn't meet them first off.
I don't think I've ever met anyone that's been horrible.
There's Deborah, there's some that are horrible. I mean, there's some
we better not name them.
I don't know.
No.
I'd say it from my heart, honestly. I don't know anybody. Everyone I've ever met has always been lovely.
Well, and that's good. You know, I'm going to say, over my radio days, over the last couple of decades, I've had, I had a certain individual. Obviously, I'm not going to mention his name, but I was so excited to have him on. And I was so, I don't want to say disappointed, just saddened as how he was on air. He was one personality. He was great when we were on air. And then when I would pick up, this was pre the, you know, Zoom and Skype and all of these things. So he was on the phone, and we'd take a commercial break, and I'd talk with him off air, and he was just not nice. I'm just going to say, and it was like, I was I would have rather not have interviewed him and still kind of had that ideal in my mind, but the reality was important. So, you know, it's just different people and different personalities. So I guess, but I just love that about the two of you. I love that. And I feel it right away. I could feel it right away.
You've got, you know, I don't think anybody's got any business in being horrible at any point in time about anything, because, you know, there's enough crap goes on in this world.
Isn't that the truth?
And if you can't just be a decent person about it all, you know, and I get it with, you know, when people get to that level and they get hassled by the most inane stuff. And people, there's some strange people out there. So, excuse me.
I'll get you a drink.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, nice. See now how nice he is. See that? How nice.
He's very, very sweet.
Isn't that sweet? He's going to go for listeners.
You're never going to hear that anywhere else, how sweet he is. Everybody's going to laugh at that.
No, I don't think so. I'm witnessing.
But he is. He's a gorgeous man.
How beautiful is that?
You get people.
There you go, honey.
Oh, wine.
Thank you.
So
I'm going to have water for now.
for listeners, just brought Deborah a bottle of wine. Not your drink. You're not drinking a bottle of wine, but it's much later.
No, water for the moment.
It's much later in the afternoon. It's 9:30 a.m. here, so it would be a little bit of a difference. Maybe not. Whatever, right?
Yeah, but going back to it, I just don't see any reason. But I see that some people at that level get really hassled by some of the most ridiculous things, and some other people can be quite rude. Like if somebody's having dinner, they can go crash in on them and kind of have a selfie or all of that. So I get where the rudeness can come out, but no, I just think at the end of the day, we're all human beings and everybody's just got to get along, and that's the end of that for me. Pete might think differently coming from Belfast.
No,
yeah.
Well, but it's a good point. But again, you're right. Can't we all just get along? Can't we all just get along and just treat each other?
We got one particular Belfast superstar that can be a bit grumpy and a bit rude, but I don't need to say his name. I don't think.
Oh yes! Oh yeah! Yeah. Okay.
There ain't that many Belfast superstars, so.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about. Anyway, moving on.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not. Now I'm puzzled. I'm not 100% sure, but you two are absolutely delightful. And again, I absolutely love the new album.
But I ended up playing with him one night just by accident at a tribute to Lonnie Donegan's show. I was asked up to play guitar, and he was the singer at the time. So that was funny because it was 40 years after he told me to clear off in one way. So 40 years later, I ended up playing with him. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you may as well say who it is.
You might as well. I mean, no initials? No.
Apparently, he's good to his wife and good to the kids.
He is.
His band as well. Of course, it's Van Morrison. It's Van Morrison.
I want to get the whole thing. Yeah. Again, I don't understand. Okay, since we're saying it, oh boy, I have to do this because my wife always says my greatest asset is also my greatest liability. There's no filter between my brain and my mouth, which could be a good thing or not thing. But she says when you say that, she said you should be thinking. Don't go into it. Don't go into it.
Yeah.
Yet I can't. It's like I can't help. It's kind of like I don't want to mention another an old American folk singer whose music I really loved. I saw a documentary about him, and this is probably in I don't know, maybe early 70s, late 60s. He's just so nasty and rude, and I can't. When his music pops up, as much as I used to like it, I can't even listen to it anymore. But I won't mention Bob's last name. Okay. Yeah. Is that bad? I'm probably blushing now. And I get hate mail when I say that. It's my opinion. It's just not, it's okay. We'll move on.
It's funny though. I can still listen to Van Morrison's music, so that's
because
good.
He's a decent man, and everybody
I still
knows
like Van Morrison's
he
music.
does an awful lot of good. We had a great night with his band, and his band absolutely adore him, and he's a good man. I think he's just got fed up of idiots going up to him,
Well, yeah,
like me.
No, but how he was with you is inexcusable, I think, Peter. But
Pete was young and a bit of a pain. He was probably trying to,
that arrogance.
Selfies had been around. He would have tried to have done a selfie with him.
Yeah.
He was great to you on stage. He did a solo, for goodness sakes. I'm not having a bad word said about Van.
Because, of course, at this moment in time, when I'm on stage with him 2 years ago, he's got absolutely no idea who I am.
Well, why would he?
No idea that we met 40 years previous where he told me to. So this is all busy in my head.
Yeah,
in his head,
and he's blank. He's blank.
No big deal.
You know, again, people in the media can come up and ask, can I think make somebody a little edgy or apprehensive, maybe, because they do. I never liked that idea of, I'll call it gotcha media, where, what people will say if they're coming in the studio with me, what do you want to talk about, this or that? I really need to know. I say, it's not like I'm going to have I don't do gotcha media where it's like, oh, by the way, here's your ex-wife. She wanted to come in and tell a story. I don't like that. Interview somebody, talk with them about it. But I would think that so many out there in the media do that type of stuff where, I have a question I want to ask you about. An ex-girlfriend told me, it's like,
Yeah. So you can understand where it comes from. But I think the older we all get, it's just in this crazy world we're living in right now. I think everybody just needs to just get on, because it's getting scary out there,
it's very scary.
I think we just all got to rub along, whatever your politics, whatever your ideas, whatever, just rub along,
Yeah. And you know what, Deborah, you're right, because in the essence, it's, and I call it the grand distraction. We're so busy looking at, not that we shouldn't look at the bigger world. And I get to watch too much. We'll watch too much news sometime, or read too much news also. It can be very depressing. You
have to switch it off.
And I was watching what's going on in Ukraine and watching.
Oh man, it's a sad day. Sad day today.
Yeah, it's sad.
That we're all praying that gets resolved, because,
yeah.
It's a sad day. But anyway.
So, Deborah Bonham, I'm going to ask you, where do you think that heart comes from in you? You're so heart connected and want, with all of your successes.
I don't, I mean, I was born to great parents. So, my mom and dad were great people, and my brothers were great people. So I think it's, my grandparents were great people. And I've got a lot of old spiritualist aunts. Excuse me. That used to terrify my mother, because one used to live with them, and she'd always be stood at the top of the stairs talking to people. So
that weren't there.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, but maybe they were. Peter, I dare say, when people say, if they're doing an assessment or something, they'll say, do you, I probably shouldn't say, I went for a medical checkup. I have a new physician, and then they're going over all these questions. Say, do you hallucinate? And I'm like, how would I know? Well, do you see things that other people don't see? And my response was, that doesn't mean they're not there.
They're not there.
If
exactly.
I do, I just,
exactly.
So, and then I started to get worried. I thought they call it in the United States pink slipping. I didn't want to get pink slipped into a psych ward, and I thought maybe I better cool it, and
the thing is, spirits are better for the planet, really, because they are carbon neutral, aren't they?
You've got a great sense of humor. They are carbon neutral here. Yeah. As far as we know, I guess.
Yeah.
So you were talking about, Deborah, about your parents and musical family, because I've often wondered with people that are very, they're very great at their art, whatever that might be. Is it genetic? Is it inborn? Is it, where does it come from? And you are a very musical family when I was reading your bio. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, mom and dad were always playing great music. But that's where John, my brother got it from my parents playing.
And that would be, of course,
Benny Goodman. Yeah, John Bonham, of course, my brother. And drummer. He would get the Benny Goodman being played, and that had Gene Krupa on drums, and all this great music my parents used to play. So John was 14 years older than me. So John went out there and trailblazed that. And John was a real You know, you've got to be the best at what you were going to do. Otherwise, there was no point in doing it. And I guess I inherited a bit of that. There was no point me going into singing if I wasn't going to try and do my best and be as good as I possibly could. So I guess that's where it sort of came from. I think I would have to say it would be John, because John never did anything by half. You know, it was always full on. And if he put his mind to, he was going to do something, then he was going to be good at it, because he couldn't see any point in doing stuff if he wasn't great at it. And hence, you know, becoming one of the greatest drummers on the planet, you know. So I guess that's sort of, I inherited that a bit.
When I was reading about that, about Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, some of the other, Henry James, Louis Armstrong, Mahalia Jackson, you know, when Frank Sinatra, and it's interesting. When I was reading that, I was thinking of my dad and the music that he played. Very similar music when I was young, and didn't appreciate it as much. You know, that was in the day where there was one record player, and you couldn't, you know, it wasn't like he'd play an album, then I'd play an album. He'd play his albums, he'd play his music. I mean, that's the way it was. And I almost feel badly. I didn't get to thank him for some of that musical background and some of the things that he played that I didn't appreciate so much when I was little or young. But now I'm grateful that I had that in the background. But you got it at an early age. Yeah,
definitely. You know, I mean, my mom said I was kicking when the music went on, when she was pregnant with me. When that music went on, I used to start kicking and dancing. Yeah. So, you know, it was always there, you know.
And now when I play music, she still kicks.
You've got a great sense of humor, Peter Bullick. A great sense of humor. I love that. What about you? Tell me about your musical background, if you would.
I guess it was my mum's record collection, mainly singles, 7 inches. Okay. And she'd have the Beatles and Blue Mink and Roy Orbison and Elvis Presley. So that's where I'd try and when I got my guitar, I'd try and mimic those songs and stuff. And then babysitters would bring cooler stuff in, like, you know, the sort of like Free, Paul Rodgers.
Babysitters, that was your Auntie Irene.
My Auntie Irene, yeah. And then my uncle, 3 years older than me, he got a guitar, so I had to get a guitar.
Was that it? Yeah. Is that?
Yeah. So he got a guitar aged about 10, which meant I was 7. So I started really early because I wanted to be like him. Not in every way, because no,
go ahead. Go for it. Go for it.
Well, he was like quite a pioneer, but in Belfast it was quite a troubled city at the time and stuff. So it was kind of no place to be gay, because so he was kind of the toughest man I knew, and he was gay. And I thought, if you're gay in a place like that where they want to kill you for being the wrong religion, crikey, how tough must you be to be gay in that environment? So that was quite. That's a really good point. You know, younger people don't remember that. They don't know those days when, you know. A lot of people come out as gay in very cushy surroundings and circumstances, but well, it's even like today. If you're right, maybe in Russia or something like that, I don't think it's
some other countries
it's be there. But apart from that, we had a steely determination on the guitar. We had to work out the songs that we loved, you know, and the guitar players that we loved. We had to work out how to play that, and we had to lift the needle off the record and put it back on again and play it again, all that kind of stuff. Then try and copy it, and then we got into vibrato competitions where so then you had to like bend the notes and then hold them, and
you never told me that, because that's what first drew me to you when we first met. Your vibrato on a note. You never told me that.
Yeah.
See now again. I'm gonna sound boastful. Then I'm gonna embarrass myself. And you found out about it on the Louis B. Free radio show, Brain Food from the Heartland, Deborah. yeah. But so that's what drew. Tell me about that a little bit more.
What, when we met?
Yeah.
We met at a friend's wedding. He knew the bride and I knew the groom. And then you were the band, weren't you?
Yeah, we as a gift to the couple, we provided the music as the wedding band, and I had a band that were a kind of rock covers band that did all the pubs and clubs in England.
Covers, I would
rock
say.
Blues, yeah. But we did a lot of American stuff as well. We were doing Georgia Satellites and Tom Petty, and as well as a bunch of British stuff, Bad Company and Status Quo probably, and crikey. Oh, Alex Harvey band. We did a version of the Everly Brothers' Price of Love. And and we did a quite heavy version of it. And I noticed Robert Plant has just done a version of it on his new album with Alison Krauss. And he's taken it the complete opposite way. His version is so soft and slow.
And beautiful.
Allison, yeah.
And I want to play him our thrash version of it. I want to get him in a bar and say, hey, Robert, you just done Price of Love? I want to get our thrash mix out and say, this is how you should have done it, mate.
Oh, God, that's great. That is a riot.
We used to just go the other end of the spectrum on the heavy.
Yeah, there you go.
I haven't heard the album with Alison Krauss, but I do like Alison Krauss. I do like that.
That's how we met, and because he was the band, I ended up getting up and singing a song with them, and that was it.
So what was that? About what year? How many years ago?
December 1990. So
31 years ago.
Yeah, about 3 days before New Year's Eve.
Wow, and it's wonderful that you remember.
Oh yeah, just
can't remember when we got married. He can't, but he just remembers that night.
Yeah, but that's you know what? Honestly, Deborah, I've got to remember that. A beautiful thing for a man. That's a beautiful thing that that impacted him so deeply, and he remembers.
Yeah, but because I had to. Well,
bless him, he's a sensitive soul.
Well, that's wonderful. I love that. I'm serious.
It was in London. Oh no, I'm not always sensitive. I get so accused of it.
But you're hilarious.
And it's growing up with something. No, we'll not talk about that.
You are sensitive. You are.
But of course, it was London, and it was just after Christmas, so that's what I remember. Because I'd fly back to Belfast to be with my family for Christmas dinner. Then I'd basically land on the 28th in London, rally up all the guys, all the gear, get to the wedding venue, set it up, and then hit the beer and do the gig.
Hit the beer. Yeah.
Do the gig and meet the chicks.
Which on that particular occasion was me.
That's right.
Yeah. And that was it. So we
I mean, it's all we do rock and roll for, isn't it? It's just the sex and drugs and rock and roll, isn't it?
Sex and drugs and rock and roll. What was that? Ian Dury.
That was Ian Dury, yeah.
Sex and drugs and rock and roll. All my brain and body need, right? Something like that.
Yeah. So that was it, really. And then
anyway, we've got the rock and roll still going.
I love your sense of humor. Honestly, it's
you
great.
Want to try living with it for 31 years.
Yeah, and it's good. Again, I've got to, working together, being together. You obviously have it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, it's had its moments,
Well,
I mean,
sure. Yeah,
we've never been apart. That's the thing. I mean, we've been 24/7 for sort of 31 years, really, 30 years.
And that speaks volumes
and that's
about.
Sometimes, and we're being in the same band and going out on tour. Excuse me for keep coughing.
Please don't. No apologies. No. Yeah.
And being in the same band together and going out on tour, it's had its moments and its challenges. But the best thing about it is that we're the same. We get the same things. We've got the same sort of humor, and we're good mates. And luckily, he's one of the best guitarists I know, because if he wasn't, I'm not sure it would have lasted. The humor's great, and I love him to death, and but if he couldn't have played that guitar, I'm not quite sure it would have lasted.
Well, that balanced it all out, right?
I also keep her locked in the basement so she can't hear any other guitarists. So it's like, seriously, this is the best you're going to get.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and you keep that sense of humor about you. Also, I mean, that's important in a relationship. You've got to be able to right? You've got to be able to.
Yeah, I think we've always had that.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I think it's probably emotional extremes. I think we can it's probably like the way we approach the music as well. It's with that passion and emotion as well. We don't,
yeah, it can flip. It can sometimes do a 180, and then you're sort of like, and then the band hide.
We just like to try and get everything from it. Either do the best in the music, or have the best laugh, or have the best cry, or have
the best row,
or have the best row.
Best row. But you won't. The nice thing is you work through it. You know, with a tough time, you have to work. You have to hold on through the tough times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then they're not that tough. It's just.
Well, I mean, yeah.
We can
go ahead.
It's just the way it's certainly. We just get through it, and the older we've got, I think the more tolerant we've become.
Tell me about that, Deborah. Tell me about that.
Well, I think things seem such a big deal when you're younger, and as you get older, really you look back and you think that really wasn't a very big deal at all, but you made a mountain out of it, and I think that sort of happens as you get older.
I think with bands, whenever you hear about all the bands from the 60s and the 70s that are maybe still going today, and they've all they were probably only together full time for about 5 to 10 years at the time. And then they all fell out. And there's this expression, musical differences. So they fell out. And then they all get back together again. They realize that, we're always going to have differences. So let's enjoy the differences instead of thinking the differences are a negative. It's like, it kind of helps if we're all a bit different. But I think when you're a kid, you think we've all got to be the same, otherwise we'll fall out. Yeah. But and a bit older, you realize to appreciate everybody's differences, and it makes a much better pot if with a better selection of.
It does, and that's what's happened.
You can't have a big pot of stew with potatoes only.
Oh yeah, you've got to have different spice. Add different spices to it, whatever, right? I mean, again, it is. It's and too often, I think part of the.
I just think I'm starting to sound like Forrest Gump now.
I thought they only had potato stew.
You are hilarious.
It's a fine line between profound and Gump.
Well, some of the Gump stuff was profound, though, right? I mean, sometimes the simple, right? It's not, we're always looking for the real profound, like, wow, how that was said. And sometimes it's the simplicity of things, the beauty, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever hear Chancey Gardner, Peter Sellers?
I loved, oh my God, being there. One of my favorite movies. And I still get emotional at the end when and I'm not going to do a spoiler. If you haven't seen it, folks, you haven't seen it at this point. But when he gets
that kind of fine line between profound and all is very precursor to Forrest Gump, isn't it? So,
it is.
Yeah.
And when you think about that with Chauncey Gardner and in being there and how brilliant that and how wonderful acted it was, and how the people would hear these, not realizing, I hate to say who he was or what, and they would think everything was so profound. But I love the end. If you remember
the leaves hit the ground.
When he's walking, remember when he started to walk on the water, and you hear the voice in the background where it says, life is a state of mind. I hope I'm quoting that. Now I have to watch it again. I love every time being there is on, I have to watch it.
Yeah.
It's
you like that.
Yeah. Well, I haven't actually seen it in over 10 years, so I'm due to watch it.
I haven't seen it in a while. Yeah. You and I both. There
you go. That's tonight's viewing.
And I'm not a big collector of physical DVDs, but there's certain movies. There's maybe a couple of dozen that I have to own, and it's that being there.
That's one of them. Yeah.
Spinal Tap, of course.
Spinal Tap. Yeah.
Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
You've got to have it, because when they cut the fiber optic cables and we can't stream anymore, we need a DVD. So
Lordy.
And that could be coming. I'm a little paranoid. I get a little paranoid too about what's going on. Yeah.
So you have that. Now, what other movies? Oh, have you seen Bob and Doug McKenzie in Canada?
Oh God, yes. Oh, not in years. Oh my God, that's great. Oh God, yes. Oh,
hey, take off, you hoser.
Yeah, I remember when they used to do that. What was it? SCTV, Second City TV. I think before that movie came out, John Candy was in it, and it was just it was. real quick funny story about John Candy. I hope you don't mind. We're at a family in Toronto, so we're at an event and in a hotel, and John Candy walks. This was before all the films, and this was just when they were doing the little Second City TV comedy troupe. John Candy walks out of the elevator. I get real excited. I say hi to him. My father was there, and I introduced him, introduced him to John Candy. And John, he was very nice. He had a couple of young ladies with him, went to his room, whatever. And my dad turned to me, he said, "So he's from town? He's from," I said, "No, Dad, he's he just thought he was somebody I knew that I ran into." I'm sorry to go on and on about that. I'll never forget that. That was probably almost 40 years ago. So I want to ask you, and by the way, somebody just sent me something about you two, and it's beautiful, about the Teenage Cancer Trust.
Yes.
That you raised, it's beautiful. See you again. Tell me about that.
Well, in our hometown of Redditch, which is in the Midlands in the middle of the UK, it's where I was born, where John was born, my other brother Michael. The people of the town wanted to have a memorial to John, and it was sort of ongoing for quite a while. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to step in here and try and help raise the funds and everything. And then Robert Plant came on board as well, and our great friend Roy Williams, who's passed away now, and Pete. Anyway, we raised about 3 times more than the money we needed for the actual memorial, the bronze memorial. So Robert suggested.
I just realised we should have called that memorial Bronzo.
Bronzo. So, Robert suggested we should
missed a trick.
Robert suggested we should really, find a charity that we can give it to. And it was him who suggested Teenage Cancer Trust. And it just so happened that one of our very close friends, Angie Jenkinson, is heavily involved with Teenage Cancer Trust. So it was perfect. It was like,
so she took us around a couple of the hospitals and stuff and showed us the things. So we went around, met the kids who were, some of them would recover and some of them wouldn't, and so it was quite a tough.
It was. Time. It was inspirational and heartbreaking at the same time.
And when you're talking about like superstars earlier, that kind of thing, who inspire you to maybe be a better person. Robert Plant did that with us. We were faced with all this sort of doom and gloom, these very sick kids and stuff, and he was just conversing with all of them, whether it was their favorite football team, or
he was brilliant.
Or he was as cool and calm and as joyful and playful as anything with him. And he they had a music room. One of the kids played guitar, but couldn't because of the chemotherapy. It had numbed his fingers. So Robert Plant says, "Here, my mate Pete will teach you how to get around that." He says, "Pete, do that thing where you do an open tuning and play a bottleneck." So, and I was absolutely, I was almost in tears when I was finding out about this kid. And then Robert says, "Now we can get around that problem. Open tune the guitar and use a bottleneck." So, and then he threw it to me, and I had to just go, "Oh yeah." So I like open tuned this guitar, I got bottleneck, and me and the kid sat playing little slide things, and the joy over this kid's face, because he had lost the use of his hands pretty much. God. And all of a sudden he could get a tune out of the guitar again just by doing that. And that was, and I wouldn't have thought about that, but
that's beautiful though.
I was in absolute awe that Robert Plant thought of that and then handed it to me to run with it. And it was,
Robert, Robert, I've known Robert since I was before they joined Led Zeppelin. So I was 6 when they joined. So I would have known Robert since I was about 4. And he lived at our house for quite a while. My mom took care of him. And he had a great love of John. They had a great friendship. And
your brother, John.
He's got a massive love for John. And we're very, very close. So when this sort of happened and we were able to raise so much money for Teenage Cancer Trust, it was just great because, as Pete just said, we were somewhat, I had to walk out of the room at one point because the tears were streaming down my face. Luckily, this kid that survived, he survived, didn't he?
Yeah.
His mother got in touch and he went into remission. And the work that Teenage Cancer Trust do, just to briefly tell you, excuse me, in the UK, when a teenager gets cancer, they're either put in a children's ward or in an older, you know, an adult's ward. And being a teenager in itself is a difficult thing, you know. So they're dealing with all these hormones about being teenagers, and they're either stuck in a ward where they've got, you know, mobile swinging kiddies mobiles above their bed, or they're next door to a geriatric who's gone, you know, got Alzheimer's or something. So there is a great need to take care of these teenagers, and that's what Teenage Cancer Trust.
Yeah, it gives them company of their, you know, of people in the same age group and stuff, so they can actually spar off each other and
the ward is great, isn't
cheer each other. It's just a bit funkier than a depressing hospital, if you know what I mean. And a lot of that, you know, if you give them a more joyous, interesting surroundings, peace of mind, then the body has its own ability for maybe to assist a bit of healing, you know,
a better healing.
Speed it up in some
and I think
cases.
also they try and make it, although they're with the most incredible physicians and oncologists, they try and make the cancer the secondary. It's about being a teenager being the main thing. So they get to do all manner of teenage stuff.
Wonderful,
you know, which is just, it's fantastic. It's brilliant. And Roger Daltrey is involved in it as well.
Roger Daltrey's like the main patron of it, you know, from The Who.
And it's just such an amazing charity. So it was great that we were able to do this beautiful bronze statue of John. And on the back of it, we all had a hand in designing this memorial, because we wanted it to be something different. We didn't want just him standing there with a pair of sticks. And we've got this fantastic shot of him from James Fortune, a live shot. And then we replicated that in bronze. And on the back, we've got a little plaque, an inscription that talks about Teenage Cancer Trust. And it's carried on. So people that go and see the memorial will quite often make a couple of dollars donation to Teenage Cancer Trust. So the whole thing it just keeps going. And we had T-shirts done.
It has a legacy rather than being a big lump sum of cash worth of bronze sitting there. And John wouldn't have liked that.
No, that would have been a bit obscene.
So if that lump sum can generate more sums for a good cause, that was kind of the outlook on it.
Yeah.
Okay, and
we did so when we did the See You Again EP, we made a donation to that was for Teenage Cancer Trust. With that, we just wanted to, again, about raising the awareness of Teenage Cancer Trust, and so that's what we did.
It's beautiful.
But in the design of the statue, I managed to get a bit of Ireland wrapped around John Bonham in the statue there. It's like,
well, it was from Houses of Holy, wasn't it? Really.
Tell me about that.
That's the end of that story then.
No, it wasn't. Not the Giant's Causeway.
I was going to build up to that, but to cut a long story.
I'm just thinking, to
cut a long story short, the end.
You two are just
John sitting on his drum kit in this statue. We wanted a way to connect John to the earth.
And that
somehow.
Was the House of the Holy.
So in the north coast of Ireland, there's this rock formation. It's hexagonal rock formation,
which looks like House of the Holy. Sorry, carry on.
So it's called the Giant's Causeway in the north coast of Ireland. So, and Led Zeppelin used it on the cover of one of their albums. I can't remember what one it was.
Houses of the Holy.
Oh, that was it. What did you say? Oh, I can't believe it slipped my mind, that one.
Oh, you two are a riot. I mean, you're a joy. Seriously, I love how you interact.
So John's statue is sitting on a rock formation from that. And
it looks amazing.
And then we wanted the statue to be interactive. So those hexagonal rocks that come up out of the ground, they're based as little seats, so people can actually sit.
Interactive, yeah.
It's an interactive sculpture, so people can actually sit with John, and you see all sorts of people getting their photographs taken. They sit on this hexagonal rock formation around the big sort of bonzo.
We should give the sculptor a credit here.
Mark Richards
from the UK, an amazing sculptor, and he just got exactly what we were all talking about, you know, and he got the spirit of John. And when you look at that sculpture, You can just see it. It's the spirit of John.
Every bit of passion went into that, and I would have thought every sculpture is like that, you know. But since we went through that process, it was a couple of years worth of process. Since then, we of course look at other people's sculptures and stuff, and it's amazing that they're not always that sort of passionately involved, and the results aren't always. It's quite amazing. We couldn't have dreamt of a better result than this one, but we have seen some poor sculpures since then, and all of a sudden we're experts.
You've got your expertise, right? It's like, well, it's good, but
all of a sudden we've got as if we didn't have enough opinions. We've now got opinions.
The critics, you become sculpture critics, art critics in the sculpture world, right?
I think it was Mark Richards who was the expert there. He interpreted exactly what we felt, and he added things in as well. The back of the symbols, if you go to around the back of the sculpture, he's made them look like Zeppelins. So it just looks incredible. If ever you get to the UK, go and see it.
I'd like to say I'm on my way, but probably. People I'm getting emails to ask you the Marmite question. Marmite, love it or hate it?
Oh, he's
Marmite.
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
We love it. We love Marmite, but our dog doesn't.
I've got my little jar. I'm
doing the Marmite and chili sauce.
I'm gonna get more water.
Do you like chili sauce?
I love chili sauce. Marmite. I never even thought.
You can mix any chili sauce with Marmite. Put your Marmite on your toast and then chili sauce on top.
Oh God, that sounds
the flavors are immense.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
The combination is brilliant.
Yeah, I love it's funny, you know, here in the States, we think, and I found out, I hate to say the hard way, but I was interviewing someone from the UK and I said, so Marmite, hate it. We hate people either. It's one or the other.
It is.
My wife just does not like it at all.
No, it isn't one or the other.
I can't get enough of it. I can't.
You'll love this. When we've rescued, we've got a couple of rescued dogs.
Guys are beautiful. I just, you know, I've got to say, the more I talk with you, the more I love everything about both of you. Now rescue dogs. I mean, you've got so much.
Yeah, we got a couple of, we've always done that, and we've rehomed some. Oh, he's doing his donkey, and we got a rescue donkey and
You do.
But anyway, one of our dogs, when she first arrived, she was in a killing station in Spain, and she arrived about 2 years ago. And she would steal every bit of food that was anywhere.
I'm sorry, Peter's showing me the little Snoopy house, though. I got to get a picture of you with the Snoopy house. Grab the Snoopy house. This is so unprofessional of me, honestly. It really is. I'm doing I'll post the pictures, folks. I will post because I got it. Thank you. Your one dog came up to you. I saw it a few minutes ago. The one dog was.
Oh yeah, that's the collie. That's Babushka. But
Donna. Babushka. Oh God, that's great. So go ahead.
Donna is the Labrador, and she stole every bit of food, like whole loaves of bread, whole big tubs of butter, and goodness knows what. And then the one day I was sat with some breakfast, a piece of toast, some breakfast with Marmite on it. And she stole it. And she tasted it and she left it. And she just sat there looking at it. And so I took a photograph of her and I tweeted it to Marmite, to the people of Marmite. They came back laughing their heads off. I said, well, I guess I love it and she hates it. But she wouldn't eat it. So we found one thing. So we have to smear Marmite all over the kitchen worktops.
You put Marmite on things so the dog won't.
Which is great until I come in after a beer and
then you lick it up, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been called a window licker as well.
Yeah.
I'm a worktop licker.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Deborah, you just gotta. Oh dear, shake your head, right?
Yeah.
I've got to get away for you if you could. I've got to find pictures of your dogs sometime, or maybe you could.
We'll send them to you.
Text me or email.
And the horses and the
donkey.
Yeah, actually, I'll probably show you one.
I took a couple yesterday on the walk. So
I've got some.
You have a couple of fresh ones.
That's a nice one.
It is. Okay, well.
I don't. Okay,
that's what he
now,
calls his ass.
People aren't going to be able to see it, but I'm going to get a picture from the screen, and
we'll send them to you.
Yeah, will you? Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I would love that. I would love
send
that.
them.
Email or text them to me, and let me know if I'm allowed to post them.
Yeah.
And that's what do you have? A cat?
That's Buska watching the horses.
Oh God!
There she is with the horses and the donkey.
With the doggy. Oh God, that's beautiful.
I'll send you the photographs.
Please, yeah. Where is the animal loving part come from with you two?
There's Dana.
Oh,
that's the Marmite hating girl.
Yeah, she don't like Marmite.
Oh, Marmite, no for her.
Animal loving.
What do you think?
Ever since I could stand up, I guess. I just always loved horses and dogs and cats and any animal. I guess you know where you are with animals. It's quite clear cut. So I think it's about that really. I think even as a little girl, I was quite unsure of people, I guess.
Yeah. It's interesting. Animals are interesting because I've said this a lot on the show. We humans talk about unconditional love, and I certainly don't mean that we don't aspire to that or try to love it. It's the animals that and interesting. Maybe I know here goes my brain, no filter, but we had taken in, we've had dogs and cats, never horses or donkeys, but a lot of rescue rabbits for a period of time. And there was one that was so terribly abused. When she came to us, she had been terribly abused and then terribly neglected. And it was interesting it was a slow process, how she would then run to me when I was getting ready to go to work and, wanted the love. And the way I interpret it in my brain is that she said, well, some guy hurt me, but not this guy. This guy loves me. This guy. And you know what? Not all humans are willing or able to get past that. Well, this guy hurt me and I'm never going to be in a relationship again. Or this one, and animals open their hearts to us. And it's a beautiful thing.
I agree. It never ceases to amaze me because we've rescued so many. And and from some of the worst situations.
Yeah.
And it never ceases to amaze me how it can take a year, sometimes a couple. But once they're through it, they have this ability to forgive.
And their heart just opens up to you, right?
It's incredible. It does always amaze us, doesn't it?
It took nearly a year for Dana, the lab, to trust me and go for a walk with me.
Is that right?
I'd drag her on the lead.
And so scared of men
go ahead.
Absolutely clung to me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Go ahead, Deborah.
If I couldn't take her for a walk, then I said, Pete, at some point she's got to get used to being with you, And it's taken a year, hasn't it?
It took about a year. Then eventually, just one day, she ran out the door and followed me.
Yeah.
I was like,
Isn't that Isn't that it's interesting because again,
it was just like that. One day, the trust was there.
It just tips the tipping point, if you will. It's what's loving. Again, it was like this one rabbit that we had would scream, and it's a terrible sound when a rabbit screams. And rabbits can actually die from fright because it's like a defense mechanism if a predator gets them, that they're not just torn apart. And she would back up and scream, and it was just it made me tear up. It was sad when she saw my hands, and to see that total transformation.
Yeah,
like you were saying, Peter. That just to see that it's a beautiful thing, a beautiful experience.
Yeah. Well, we've got a cat rescue center over here, the Cat and Rabbit Rescue.
Oh wow! And
when we were first involved with Paul Rodgers and his wife Cynthia, we did a charity concert, and some of the money went to the Chichester Cat and Rabbit, didn't it? And we went over there and saw them, and they were just adorable.
What's the name of the group?
It was the Chichester Cat and Rabbit Society.
Cat and Rabbit Rescue.
Yeah.
In Chichester, UK.
But so they were absolutely thrilled, and we were trying to, once we decided we were going to do this charity concert with Paul Rodgers, which was amazing. And him and his wife are big animal rescuers. His wife goes down to Mexico and saves an awful lot of unwanted and abused cats down there and takes them back up to Canada and rehomes them. And she's just they're big. They've got big souls, those two. And
you two have big souls. You two have big hearts.
Yeah, they definitely have. So we had a combined love of music, Pete with Paul Rodgers, free music and bad company, and then of course with the animals. So it's a great friendship, that one, isn't it?
Yep.
That's absolutely a beautiful. Are you both good time wise? Can I keep you a little bit?
Yeah.
A little bit longer. Ladies and gentlemen, I truly have the honor of talking with Deborah Bonham and Peter and about the new. I'm sorry, we barely talked about the new album or anything. It's on me. I'm the host. I'm supposed to be doing a better job of staying. I say staying on topic and staying focused, but my audience knows that rarely happens. But this is the new album. Tell us about it.
Who's going to talk first?
Right. Well, this new album, right? So this one is we've decided to do a bunch of cover versions on this one, with interpretations rather than cover versions, because it's I think cover versions gives the wrong impression. Yeah. It's interpretations, because we've taken some great songs that span about 7 decades from a lot of artists. Some of them are still with us and some of them are not. In fact, one of them we lost just 2 days ago, actually, Mark Lanigan. We've done one of his songs, so we were Bleeding Muddy Water. And so we were kind of shocked that just 2 days ago, at the age of 57, Mark Lanigan died.
Very sad.
He might be better known as, he was in Queens of the Stone Age and Screaming Trees. So that was so we've taken these songs and we've tried to do something different with them in our kind of style of sort of, I don't know, blues rock with a hint of soul and sometimes wandering off into a bit of prog. But
it's all pretty much rooted in the blues.
It's rooted in the blues with all those other sort of great additions to, and so we've done those songs, which we didn't think was going to be quite so difficult, because when we do our own songs, I guess we're the boss. So whatever we decide, and it's our songs, it's going to be like that. So, but this time it was different. We thought, that'll be easy. The songs are already done. We can just do a slightly different version. Well, we couldn't, because you weren't out there to make it better, and you certainly weren't out there to make it worse. You had to validate it in a way to make it worth the space for somebody to listen to it, enjoy it, or whatever, and for you to be proud of, and for the author, the creator, the sculptor of the song, to
sculptor of the song. I love that.
To enjoy that, to enjoy it as well, and appreciate how you've treated their piece of work.
Yeah, we had to be respectful to their work.
So that it was all about that,
writers and performers.
Yeah, so it was quite a. We weren't prepared that was going to happen. We were going to go through all those emotions. It was a bit of a shock to us, and then we got in the swing of it, and then we're pretty damn pleased with the results. It's I love it. And the 13 songs do have some sort of common adhesion to them. So although they're all from different artists from different decades, we've managed to bring it into a 13-song bluesy, rocky kind of thing with our sort of a stamp on it.
Some of the songs are well known, such as Albert King, Can't You See What You're Doing to Me?
Can't you?
But then others are really obscure, like The Changeling, which is a fantastic Australian artist called Chris Wilson.
Chris Wilson,
passed away as well. So we took a real mixture, and it was just about digging deep and finding a way that came from us, from our soul, not trying to copy, not trying to be anybody else, but be us, but pay huge respect to them as well. And I think we've got there.
Yeah, and the songs weren't just our ideas. Some of the songs were suggested to us by like old friends, and there's we had a guy helping with our management, Gary Nesbitt, in America, in New Jersey. He came up with a bunch of songs. Roy Williams, our pal who we spoke of earlier, that helped us with the John Bonham Memorial Sculpture. Roy was in his 70s. He died of cancer last year, just 2 years ago. And he was Robert Plant's sound engineer for a couple of decades. So
and
that was
manager.
And tour manager and stuff. So he was so all kind of close in that kind of bunch of
Robert
friends.
suggested a few songs too.
And then Robert Plant suggested the Paddy Griffin song.
There was a whole, I would say there was about 50 or 60 songs at one point that I just,
right? You had to.
Oh yeah.
That I just started whittling down and just going through, and the songs that I ended up picking were the ones that I sort of knew I could do something with, and I could bring something to the table with it. And at the same time knew that Pete and the band could do it. You know, we didn't try anything that I didn't think we weren't going to be able to do. There were a couple of songs that came close where we were thinking, crikey, is this working? But then we'd stop, tried another way, and then bang, we were in it. You know, it was really about letting our soul and our heart come out in it, rather than trying to, you know, copy anything or do it a certain way like somebody else might have done, or, you know. So it was really challenging, wasn't it?
Yeah, I love that.
But great.
It was
great.
And of course, a lot of our influences will come through into these songs, which are you know, you'll have somebody else's song, which, because we've done it now, it may have influences of a totally different artist come through us, as well as a mixture of us. And there was one article that wrote about the song "See You Again" when that came out, and I didn't think of it this way, but there's like a haunting sort of intro to it, where there's a bit of a Celtic sort of lead guitar thing, or a haunting sort of intro guitar lick, and I didn't realize, but the guy said it reminded him of the intro Eric Bell did to Thin Lizzy's "Whiskey in the Jar" back in 1969.
Wow!
I was thinking, crikey, I hadn't consciously thought of that when I did it, and it was so I play it again and go, oh yeah, kind of see the influence. Doesn't sound like it, but you can, once somebody says that, you start listening to go, oh yeah, I get what he means. And of course, that's in my soul, things like that, you know, that kind of music is, whether it was Hendrix, Lizzy, Paul Kossoff and Free, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, all those things are sort of, and Peter Green, Fleetwood Mac, that was another big one. And, you know, and then even earlier than that, you know, the Hubert Sumlin, I got a love for, you know, from Howlin' Wolf's band.
You got to play.
I got to play his guitar when I was touring in America. His wife turned up his guitar and gave it to me to play with Paul Rodgers. So I got a really, you know, that kind of, and I love the stories, you know, the fights they all had and the makeups they all had, you know. So, you know, I think Hubert got a few teeth knocked out by Wolf, but whenever he went to play with Muddy Waters.
Whoa!
You know, it's all these crazy. They're madmen, you know. It's great, but it's all the passion and the you know. It's
so it was good. It was a big challenge doing it, but it was great, and I got to produce it this time, so it was great.
Deborah, tell me about that. Yeah, tell me about producing it.
I could tell you quickly. What happened was.
Oh no! Here we go. Brace yourself, Deb.
What happened was we finished the song, switched the amps off, and ran down to the pub, and she was the only one left.
Actually, that's not far from the truth.
So that is the truth, right?
Well, we've got, you know,
it's like after dinner. There, you clear up the mess. We're going down to the pub.
Yeah.
We've always had. I mean, it's either being a producer, you know, which has been great, and then the last couple of albums I co-produced. But this one, I just sort of felt, no, you know, I know where I'm going. I didn't want to have to deal with somebody who wasn't in the band taking it their way.
I see. Okay.
I really wanted it to be about us. And, you know, we, as a band, we're so connected that they're quite happy to let me take the reins on that, because they know that I'll only ever do what they've put out there. and pay, and look after them with that. So,
yeah, because as well as just me and Deb, it's actually the band has been with us a long time. They're like keyboard player G. Lewis has been with us 22 years.
Wow.
The drummer is the new boy. He's been with us 12 years. That's Rich.
12.
And the bass player I've known since I was 16, on and off. We've been in bands together. So,
wow.
So they know. So
Great.
I know them and they know me. So it just made sense to produce it rather than have somebody else come in who doesn't know what they're capable of, and then take it down their road. So I thought, no, I'm gonna produce this one. And that was a huge challenge. It was a big weight on my shoulders. But once I sort of got through it, and you have to learn how to be diplomatic as well.
I'll bet.
So you can't be just saying, "Can you just play the effing chord?"
Which she didn't, Peter. No.
I was diplomatic, I think.
I'm sure.
But maybe a couple of times I wasn't, but that's because I knew that you weren't quite there. So you have to give them a push, and then all of a sudden off they go. But it was great. She
had this pushing stick.
I would never not
pushing stick.
Yeah, and then this pushing bat.
Oh, you're showing me. Oh, you're showing me.
But it's sort of, the great thing is that I know what they're capable of. So I just know, because we've been on stage live for so long, I know where they can go.
Yeah.
So I would instantly know if we weren't quite there, So that's why it made sense for me to produce it rather than somebody else come in and not know. How far they can go, And I loved it. And then the best part was being able to take it to Peter Gabriel's Real World Studios in Bath to mix it with amazing talent Tim Oliver.
Not in the Bath. Bath is a city.
You know what went on.
Oh, right.
So that's different from being in a bathtub to being in
Deborah and Peter Gabriel in the Bath.
Oh, God. Peter Bullick, you are hilarious. Somebody is really eager for me to tell you that he had an employee that thought that Led Zeppelin covered a Puff Daddy song instead of the other way around. That Puff Daddy sampled the beginning of Kashmir and did it. And it's funny with you.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
Zeppelin covered a Puff Daddy song. It's wild. So then again, people can go to the website. They can go directly to DeborahBonham.com. It comes out in April officially.
Yeah, 29th of April.
Yeah, that's got to be very, very exciting.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, if you don't mind if I ask, with COVID, with pandemic and everything, touring for you.
But it was non-existent, everything closed down, hasn't it? For the past 2 years, but we're about to start.
Yeah.
We start April. We've already done 2 festivals here that weren't huge, but there were about 4,000 people at each. And we played some of the new stuff.
That's a lot of people. Yeah, I know it's not huge for YouTube.
And we played some of the new stuff. We were so excited to be on the stage. We came out like a bat out of hell.
Yeah.
And
actually, we've got a worldwide concert stream this Sunday.
We have, this Sunday.
Sunday, 27th of February.
Yeah.
That's it. So anyone around the world for $12 can buy an access ticket to watch us play live, and it's also
great,
a bit of documentary footage, chat, and stuff in there as well.
A bit of insight into the songs, and it's our band trying to have a sensible documentary talk, and of course it ends up hysterical.
It's got to be, and I know that Cleveland.com.
It's an awful lot of fun.
The Cleveland Plain Dealer had an article that included that. Also Cleveland.com, again, that worldwide concert stream, the Winter Blues Weekend, boxoffice.mandolin.com, and you can go, you can find that, again, go directly to DeborahBonham.com, and we've got those links up at louisfreeshow.com, WFMJ.com, etc. That's going to be a blast. And
it was strange because it's the first time we've ever done a full show without an audience, you know. So it was
and the thing about
a strange
that,
one, but it was
you can have 12 people around your house in Ohio, and $1 each. You'll get to see us for $1.
Oh, somebody should do, you know, have someone bring the beer, have someone bring someone bring the Marmite, right? Somebody bring the
bring the Marmite,
Marmite, wings, ribs, and vegetables for Deb.
Yeah,
vegetables. Deb? Are you? Yay! Me too.
Well, there you go. That got you, Pete Bullick. There'll be no swing around Louis' place.
He said it respectfully.
Luckily, I love vegetables too.
Yeah, well, you do. You eat all my plate. It's like with order. He eats all of his and eats all of mine, and that doesn't work the other way around, does it? Because you've got chicken wings.
That's right. You're not going to eat. That's right. You're not going to eat that.
I've been trying to persuade her. When you see these bar restaurants doing those special nights, you know, 2 steaks for $25 and a bottle of wine. You know, come on, honey, let's go in there. And she goes, but I don't eat steak. Yes, but you can have my mushroom and tomato.
And you can drink the wine. You can drink the wine, and Peter can eat the steaks, right? I mean, that
I get
works.
to do a double steak snack.
That would work for me.
Gets told to go forth and multiply quite a lot.
Yeah, I went. Deborah, I went vegetarian when I was in high school, almost 52 years ago.
Yeah,
it was not popular then.
Long time for me.
It's wonderful though. That's wonderful. See, we're bonding. I have to tell you, I have absolutely loved this. And again, we've got the links up for the stream. It's very, very reasonable. A lot of information at deborahbonham.com. I would love to. I shouldn't ask on air, but if you're up for doing the gig with me again before the album release, I would. I'd love to have you back. I'm just going to say, I would love to have you back anytime.
We can do part 2.
We'll do a part 2.
Now we got part 1 out of the way.
This is so much fun. I've said this before. I never know what people are going to be like, especially people, you know, like yourselves that have accomplished. You've got so much history and so much accolades literally around the world. And I never know. And from the start, you both just such a blast. Peter, you're hilarious. You've got a great sense of humor, and you both have such warmth. And Deborah, you've got so much heart, and I love that.
Well, again, I think you do too, Louis. Yeah, that's why.
Thank you.
Agree. And we just love those glasses. I gotta say, I gotta get a pair of those glasses.
I will send you. You tell me what strength, and I will send them. To you. You got to get the pictures of the animals to me too. Again, I do want to. I like. You know, I was going to pick a couple of the songs that I like. I just like Trouble Blues. The Sam. They're all. I love them all. I love them all.
I'm so glad you like. That was you know. His original version of that is one of my favorites. So when I decided to pick the Sam Cooke song, everybody was a little bit, ooh, Sam Cooke, how are you going to do that one, you know? And we tried doing it, and it wasn't quite working. And I just stood there thinking, no, this isn't working. And then I just got the drummer, Marco Giovino, who is, he's played with Nora Jones, Robert Plant's Band of Joy.
He's out in America.
He lives
in Boston now.
He's a friend of Baz. He came over and did some drums on this. And I just said, let's just stop all the playing. And can you just play just a straight 4, just simple drums? And I'm going to try and sing it a cappella. And let's see where that goes. Wow. And straight away, we knew. And so once we got that, we were able to build some haunting stuff. Pete put that wonderful guitar on it, which is just spectacular. And there were some other bits of haunting. BJ Cole, pedal steel player. And I know we've known him for years. He's played with everybody, but most importantly,
since the 60s, yeah.
Most importantly for me was Humble Pie, you know.
Oh, Humble Pie,
I'm a big fan of. So yeah, Trouble Blues, it turned out really special because it was one of the tracks I was worried about. Because it being Sam Cooke, you know.
But no worries. It's absolutely beautiful. Your music has become such a part of the soundtrack of my life. I just, again, I want to say to both of you, to Deborah Bonham and Bullick, I want to thank you. It's deborahbullick.com. Again, be there for the stream on the 27th. It's going to be fantastic. And I'd be so honored to have you back anytime.
We'd love to.
Louis, you've been taking photographs, so let's do a selfie of you on the screen there behind us there.
Oh, you could.
Are you going to turn around for this?
You've got me on there.
No, I haven't. You're in front of the.
I can put my rabbit ears on. You want rabbit ears? Yes or no? Yeah. You're actually taking a picture.
Okay. Yay!
Rabbit ears.
Rabbit ears.
You two are great. I love this. Is a joy, truly a joy. I want to thank you both. Please let's.
And we'll definitely do part 2.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's a commitment.
We'll have the dogs on chairs at that. Oh, look, here she is. She's up
Wait.
again.
Oh, wait. Okay,
Hello,
you got the dog.
there.
Wait. Okay, wait. I got to get a picture.
Camera.
Oh.
Look at the camera.
Yeah, look at the camera. Don't you love that? I do the same thing with the. Look at the camera. Oh, look. Oh.
You've gone now, haven't you?
That's
Where have
great.
you gone?
Oh, thank you from my heart.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louis.
Thank you, Louis. And we'll speak soon.
I hope so. And those pictures,
Take
I want to get
care
the
of
pictures.
yourself.
It would be great. Thank you. Oh, I just
Okay.
love that, folks. I mean, they are beautiful, wonderful, amazing people.